Hey guys, AJ here back on Level 1 for you. So guys, we're going to do another episode of 3NN News. And that's the 304 News Network. And guys, this is where we go over stories of these 304s acting an absolute fool, right? And today we have a story of this knuckleheaded 304 down in Puerto Rico. She's at a bar and they decide, we're going to stop serving you. And she says, I'm going to kill your bitch ass, bitch! And decides to light the place on fire. And we have another story of a judge, guys. A judge who thinks her boyfriend's cheating. So she says, I hope you die, bitch! I hope you die of AIDS, ho! And shoots him in the back of the head. So we'll get into this, but before we do, like, subscribe, and drop a comment. I have a second channel called 50 and 304s. Join my Discord. Check out the playlist at the end. Guys, hit the join button to be a member, and let's get into this.
Arrested and charged with arson. A St. Peter's woman facing a judge for the first time this afternoon. Now the question is, will Danielle Bertotti's case be heard here or in Puerto Rico? 5 on your side, Tracy Hinson in court for today's hearing. Fill us in, Tracy.
Okay, Brent. So while I was in the courtroom, our Justina Coronel spoke with the property owner in Puerto Rico whose building is a total loss.
Look at that.
What she did has no sense. I mean, she was senseless. I mean, I don't know what was the reason of harming my business. And
because she was a knuckleheaded 304.
Even worse that, trying to kill people.
We're close. And guess what? The cops locked me home.
Authorities believe Danielle Bertotti is the woman in these videos seen arguing with bar management and then setting fire to Angel Luis Morero's property.
That lady, she didn't look at her. She didn't think her consequences.
Consequences that landed Bertotti in federal court Friday afternoon.
Damn.
Court documents released Friday outline a series of evidence against Bertotti. Bertotti was staying at an Airbnb close to the burned property.
Of course she was.
Authorities believe she matches the woman seen on surveillance video setting fire to the building.
Look at that, guys. Look at that. They have her on surveillance.
That all happened early in the morning on January 2nd. Back on the mainland by January 7th, authorities had a federal warrant to search Bertotti's home in St. Peter's. While in her home, they found her suitcase still packed with the baggage tag from Puerto Rico on it. A canine alerted to accelerant found on a black dress, which matches the one seen in surveillance video of the arsonist.
Yeah.
Authorities also found cocaine and a pink revolver in her home.
Of course, they found cocaine.
Escaped from Puerto Rico. She left. She knew what she did.
While Bertotti faces charges here, Marrero is beginning to pick up the pieces in Puerto Rico.
I'm a hotelier. I've been working many years, and I'm very strong. Puerto Rican and resilient. We are.
Bertotti's next court appearance is scheduled for Wednesday, where a judge will hear arguments for and against detaining her while this case goes through the court system.
Now, guys, here we have a follow-up. Let's get into this.
St. Peter's woman indicted by a federal grand jury for allegedly setting several businesses on fire in Puerto Rico for not serving her alcohol will again go before a judge this week.
Look at that.
36-year-old Danielle Bertotti pleaded not guilty to the crime on Friday. Fox 2's Max Deep Night is following this viral story, and he reports from the federal courthouse downtown.
Late last week, Bertotti made her first appearance here at the federal courthouse downtown. She has another one this week where a judge will decide if she can get released tonight. We're hearing from the man whose businesses she's accused of burning down. It is a story that stunned people from San Juan to St. Louis.
It was a nightmare. I mean, for me, it was a horror movie.
Here's another look at the damage left behind after police and now a federal grand jury say St. Peter's resident Danielle Bertotti.
Guys, she's 36 years old. These 304s age like goat milk, dude.
She's a hula.
Set several businesses on fire for not serving her alcohol in Puerto Rico on January 2nd while she was there on vacation. They say Bertotti was caught on camera committing the crime before fleeing back to the U.S. While no one on site was injured, the entire hotel district was destroyed in the fire. It means owner Angel Luis Morero has lost almost everything he's worked so hard for.
And that lady, without any reasons, revenge, I don't know, burn our place and turn our small a piece of paradise into hell.
Bertozzi made her first appearance.
That's what happens when you let 304s in, right, guys? You know?
In federal court Friday after being indicted for arson by that federal grand jury in the District of Puerto Rico and arrested here in St. Louis. Earlier this month, we showed you video of Bertozzi being served a search warrant at her St. Peter's home. Marrero, meanwhile, says he's grateful people are helping him with GoFundMe donations and he hopes to rebuild his hotel. He does have a message, though, for Bertozzi.
You have no right, nobody has right to do and potentially can kill people. I'm completely have faith that she's going to face the justice.
Federal prosecutors have asked Bertozzi not be given bail. If convicted, she faces up to 20 years in prison. And the U.S. Attorney's Office confirms Bertozzi will have her detention hearing here at the federal courthouse at 11:30 a.m. on Wednesday. That's when we'll find out if a judge grants her bond in this case. Reporting in downtown St. Louis, Max Dieknight, Fox 2 News.
Guys, now I'll give you updates on this, you know? Just a drunken, knuckle-headed, moronic 304, man. They destroy everything they touch. Clown world. Now, guys, here we have a case of this judge, right? That got mad at her ex-boyfriend and decided that it would be a good thing to, you know? And guys, she actually got found guilty. So let's go through the timeline just a little bit, okay?
Sonia McKnight back in court today. The district judge facing attempted murder charges after being suspended from the courtroom for nearly a year now. Today, our Elise Person speaking with those who are suffering from her absence on the bench. Elise.
Hi, Joel D. Well, like you said, Sonia McKnight, she was in court this afternoon, and that hearing, it was a quick one. It was just a status conference, but in that courtroom, her defense lawyer, he filed a habeas corpus motion, which essentially means that they don't believe there's enough evidence in this case to send it to trial. So a new hearing date has been set for August 8th. But as her case moves through the courts, it's leaving the official seat at this district court right here open. So we spoke with some residents who are saying her absence on the bench is having some serious impact on the community.
From the way they put me out and the way they did everything, bamboozled me.
Since October, Nina Dennis has had a landlord-tenant dispute being heard at Magisterial District Judge Office 1224, where Sonia McKnight served as a judge. That is until McKnight was suspended from her magisterial duties in September 2023 for violating the standards of conduct. Now, the Dauphin County judge is facing attempted murder charges for allegedly...
Look at that, guys. That's a judge right there. That's a judge. Look at that.
The streets. I'm a bitch from the streets. I get that money. I get that money. Bitch, give me what you got.
Clown world, right?
Shooting her boyfriend in the face, meaning it's been 9 months since she has served in her role as judge.
Shot him in
Since
the
October,
face.
Dennis says she has had 6 to 7 different judges hear her case in McKnight's absence. Her most recent court date was just last week.
Do you know this judge, or last Wednesday, was beginning to hear the case? I said, "Oh, excuse me, Your Honor. We're not there. We're at the end of this. We're not coming to hear this case." That's how they don't know what everybody's doing, but you're leading me to the wrong fountain.
Dennis won her case in the landlord-tenant dispute, but the amount on the judgment was wrong. So she says she appealed that amount, but because of a lack of organization at the MDJ's office, the entire case got appealed, and now she has to start from the beginning.
Damn.
Sir, why would I want to appeal the judgment when I won?
I reached out to the administrative office of Pennsylvania courts about this MDJ office. I received a statement that said, quote, Senior Judge Herman was assigned to that office in May. Prior to that, other senior judges were hearing cases and addressing matters in front of the office. Cases assigned to that office will continue to be heard by senior judges. But Dennis says even her paperwork is still signed by McKnight, who hasn't heard her case once. This one dated last Tuesday.
Her name should be off the paperwork down there because it's not fair. I feel like we have got robbed in the last 9 months of proper due justice in this area.
Are you telling me that a 304 let her personal life get in the way of doing her job and therefore hindering society as a whole? You don't say.
Just like a woman.
Now, I reached out to the AOPC about what would need to happen to get this seat filled permanently here at the district court. I was told that either the governor would have to appoint a judge, or since she's an elected official, the constituents here would just have to wait until the next election. So I reached out to the governor's office to find out if there was any movement on getting a permanent judge assigned here, and I was told there's no update right now.
There you go, guys. You know? And she got elected. That's why I said don't elect 304s. All right, guys, here we have an update. Clown world.
District judge is facing attempted murder charges after being accused of shooting her boyfriend in the face. So, CBS 21's Elise Person was in the courtroom as McKnight sat on the other side of the bench this time. So, Elise, you've reported before we were expecting to hear from a key witness today. How'd that turn out?
Yeah, so the lead investigator in the charges against suspended Judge Sonia McKnight, she took the stand today, and a big topic of conversation during her testimony was the fact that McKnight tested positive for having gunpowder residue on her hands.
She's cooked.
The night her ex-boyfriend suffered a gunshot wound. But the defense continues to argue that there's just not enough evidence to hold McKnight accountable for this.
Clown world.
It was a packed courtroom with Sonia McKnight sitting on the right side of the room. Behind her, a slew of her family and friends. But on the other side of the courtroom, sitting behind the state, was the man McKnight is accused of shooting, her ex-boyfriend, Michael McCoy. During the court hearing, the state called Sergeant Lee Tarazi to the stand. Tarazi was the one to administer a preliminary and standard gun residue test to McKnight the night her ex-boyfriend was shot in the face. She testified both of these tests came back positive. But during the cross-examination, the defense played body cam video of McKnight being questioned by police the night of the incident. McKnight continued to reiterate she did not shoot McCoy. Tarazi told the court with her nearly 14 years of experience with the Criminal Investigative Unit, she believed McKnight's interview was, quote, extremely deceptive. Although he didn't want to go on camera, McKnight's defense attorney Corey Leshner told the media they don't believe there's enough evidence to send this to trial because prosecutors can't prove McKnight is the one who shot McCoy. While on the stand, Tarazi testified McKnight told police she and McCoy were the only ones in the house that night. And in March, McCoy took the stand in a preliminary hearing and said because he was asleep, he can't testify that McKnight shot him. But he is adamant about the fact that he did not shoot himself.
So some ghost appeared and shot the guy in the face? Okay, please.
You've been had. You've been took. You've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok.
So we're now waiting for the decision on if the judge believes there is enough evidence against McKnight to send this to trial. Both the state and the defense, they have 30 days to submit short briefs about the case to the judge, and then he will make a decision about how this.
Now, guys, the boyfriend actually testified, so let's just check this out.
Suspended Judge Sonia McKnight's trial is nearing the end. She's accused of trying to kill her then-boyfriend in his Susquehanna Township home. Seth Kaplan has the latest.
McCoy, how do you feel things went today for you?
We'll see tomorrow how
That's
things went
him.
today.
Guys, look, he looks to be in pretty good shape for a person who got shot in the face. You know what I mean? Man, look at that. Man, homeboy has a guardian angel, man.
55-year-old Michael McCoy leaving Dauphin County Court. He is the ex-boyfriend of suspended Dauphin County Judge Sonia McKnight, who did not take the stand during the two-day trial. McCoy did, testifying he woke up at his home on Saddle Ridge Drive early February 10, 2024, bleeding and blind. That was after a particularly difficult week in what had been a rocky one-year relationship with McKnight, characterized, he said, by jealousy on her part. He said he wanted her to move out of his house, back to her house in Harrisburg, and she wouldn't go.
Look at that.
Prosecutors used all this as evidence of a motive for a shooting, alongside what they considered physical evidence. Gunshot residue on McKnight's clothes, for example. But McKnight's defense attorney cast doubt. There was police body cam video appearing to show McCoy in the moments after the shooting, saying McKnight did not shoot her. There was more gunshot residue on his hand than hers. There was what the defense called sloppy handling of evidence by Susquehanna Township Police, who acknowledged allowing McKnight to wash her hands after using the bathroom before testing them for gunshot residue. Defense attorneys arguing detectives decided early McKnight had shot McCoy. Everyone agrees there were only two people inside the house, but McCoy had 3 drinks before coming home. Defense attorneys say he was intoxicated and, quote, people do crazy things when they're intoxicated.
Despite all that, prosecutors say just too much evidence suggesting McKnight did shoot McCoy. The defense says not enough evidence to avoid a reasonable doubt. Jury deliberations begin Wednesday at 9 a.m.
Guys, if the genders were swapped, do you even think that this trial would have gone on for this long? Right? If this was a man accused of doing this to a woman, all you'd see is clown world, right? Well, guys, here's the verdict. Let's get into this.
Cannot state with any more emphasis that I disagree with the judgment that they made. Ms. McKnight will absolutely be appealing this. She did not attempt to kill Mr. McCoy.
Please.
Thank you.
Former Dauphin County Judge Sonia McKnight has been found guilty of attempting to kill her ex-boyfriend by shooting him in the head while he slept. We appreciate you joining us tonight at 6. I'm TJ Anthony. This morning, the courthouse right behind me, the jury deliberated for less than 2 hours before finding McKnight guilty of first-degree attempted murder and aggravated assault. So she will be sentenced in May. But to take you through the past 3 days of proceedings, we have live team coverage tonight. CBS 21's Jasmine Brooks and Elise Persons are right outside of the Dauphin County Courthouse with the aftermath of this verdict. And guys, a lot of eyes were watching this case closely.
Yes, that's right. Now, Elise has been covering this since day one. TJ, thank you so much. And so, key takeaways from today, Elise.
Yeah, so today kicked off with the judge explaining to the jury how they would be kind of handling these jury deliberations, what they should know, the rules about it, if you would. But one thing that I found very, very interesting in the explanation of how the jury should head into the deliberation room is he talked about how Sonia McKnight did not get on the stand. So, Michael McCoy, the man that, Sonia is now accused of shooting the head, he took the stand yesterday, but McKnight never did. And the judge told the jury that is not evidence against McKnight. This is not something that you can hold against her.
Closing arguments. Can you talk about what the DA said?
Yeah, so the DA, he started his closing arguments sitting down, and he says, looks at the jury, says, typically you go to sleep and you'll have a nightmare. You wake up from it and it's over. He said Michael McCoy on February 10th, 2024, he woke up to the nightmare. He detailed how, this was a heinous crime committed by Sonia McKnight. He asked the jury to put one and one together to come to the conclusion who shot him, and take a listen to him explaining what that sounded like.
Using your common sense, that's what I urge the jurors to do.
Pretty
there
much.
Were 2 people in that house, and only 2 people in that house, and one of them, the one who was shot, said he did not shoot himself. The logical conclusion is the other person did it. And I'm glad the jury ultimately saw the truth in that statement, and they found her guilty on all charges here today.
Elise, you spent hours inside the courtroom over the past 3 days, so a lot to get to and unpack.
Yeah, so this trial was jam-packed. The jury came from Delaware County, so really it seemed like they were trying to get as much into the day as possible. The trial kicked off Monday. We were in the courtroom from 9 a.m. until 9:15 p.m., just taking one lunch break, one morning break, one afternoon break. And then yesterday, Tuesday, was day 2 of the trial, kicked off at 9 a.m., and we got out around 4:45 after those closing arguments. So it was a jam-packed couple of days. Take a listen to the recap.
Damn, look at that, guys.
After 3 days, 24 witnesses, and 50 pieces of evidence, suspended Dauphin County Judge Sonia McKnight has been found guilty of first-degree attempted murder and aggravated assault for shooting her ex-boyfriend Michael McCoy in the head while he was sleeping in the early morning hours of February 10th, 2024. The jury reached their verdict in less than 2 hours. McKnight's bail was set at $3 million, and she was taken immediately to the Dauphin County Prison. It was a jam-packed trial beginning Monday morning at 9 a.m. The jury heard from 17 witnesses throughout the day on Monday, including Susquehanna Police Department patrol officers and detectives, the EMS crews that treated McCoy, and forensic experts. Throughout the trial, body cam footage was showed recapping the minutes after police arrived at McCoy's home and up to police interviews with McCoy the day after the shooting. Gunshot residue was brought up frequently throughout the trial. A forensic scientist took the stand to break down her analysis of the gunshot residue tested in this case. She found McCoy's clothing and hands tested positive for having the maximum amount of gunshot residue present, whereas McKnight's pajama shorts, a singular sock, her robe, and one part of her hand tested positive for gunshot residue. Officers testified Monday morning McKnight washed her hands and dropped her shirt in the toilet before being tested for gunshot.
Of course she did, right, guys?
Residue. Day 2 of the trial kicked off with McCoy's doctors at Hershey Medical Center testifying about the severity of his injuries. His trauma surgeon the night of the shooting said if the bullet went in a different trajectory by just a matter of centimeters, this would have been a very different outcome. On Tuesday, McCoy took the stand for the first time, and he touched on the year-long relationship with McKnight, saying, quote, "There were always problems." He says he made it clear to McKnight
this chick, she's a judge. Law school, practicing law. I tell you guys, no matter what, B-dubs are always one bad word, one bad situation away. You know what I'm saying? From just going completely nuts.
I hope you die, bitch! I hope you die of AIDS, ho!
On Friday, February 9th, 2024, he was serious. The relationship was over. He then went to sleep. He says he woke up with excruciating pain. On the stand, he said, quote, "I thought I was having a brain aneurysm. I thought my brain was trying to get out of my head." He testified he was the one who asked McKnight to call 911 in the early hours of Saturday morning and was shocked to later learn he had been shot in the head. When asked if he shot himself, McCoy answered no. He says, "I don't know who shot me, but I didn't shoot myself." Tuesday afternoon, McKnight told the judge she would not be taking the witness stand. Her defense lawyer called for the case to be thrown out. That request was denied. In closing arguments, McKnight's lawyer told the jury the Commonwealth did not provide enough evidence to meet the burden of proof and to find McKnight not guilty. Whereas the Commonwealth asked the jury to piece all the evidence together and come to the conclusion McKnight was the one who pulled the trigger. He said to the jury, quote, "When you apply your common sense to this case, the only person who could have committed this crime is right here," McCormick said, pointing at McKnight. And in under 2 hours Wednesday morning, the jury came to that decision, finding Sonia McKnight guilty on 2 felony charges.
Okay, so because you were in the courtroom and cameras weren't allowed, you really can give us firsthand experience of what you saw. I want to know what McCoy did when that verdict was read today.
So I was watching him closely as the guilty verdict came in, and he was sitting in the front row behind the Commonwealth, behind the prosecution, and there was a small ledge right there in the front row. And as they read guilty, he put his head down, slightly, and kind of up and down with his head, pounded lightly that ledge a little bit, seemingly.
Because he's lucky to be alive, Guys, you got to be careful, these 304s. And guys, let me know what sentence you think she's going to get, because I'll follow up on this. Let me know in the comments. But all right, you guys, this is AJ. I appreciate you guys. Enough of the news for now. Have a good one.